When I left my hometown for a year-long work assignment overseas, the last thing I expected was betrayal disguised as community improvement. My land, 30 acres of oak-studded hills and a wide creek at its heart, was more than property. It was a legacy. My grandfather had worked 2 jobs during the Depression just to hold on to it. My father carved his name into the barn beam before he shipped off to Korea. And when my parents passed, it became mine. I paid the taxes, fenced the borders, and kept it untouched because family land isn't just dirt, it's blood. When I returned, jet-lagged and dragging my suitcase up the gravel road, I froze. Where my quiet ranch house once stood, a gleaming 3-story boutique hotel loomed. Glass windows catching the sun, ballet signs posted, cars lined up out front. My jaw locked as the bitter laughter bubbled inside me. The Homeowners Association, an HOA I never joined but had always fought against, had decided my absence was an opportunity. Their president, smug-faced Dennis, stepped out of the hotel doors in a tailored suit, clapping his hands like he was unveiling his kingdom. "Back so soon?" he smirked, strolling up like we were neighbors exchanging pleasantries. "You'll be happy to know we turned your useless land into something profitable for the whole community." I stared at him, letting silence stretch, because silence unnerves cowards. "You built a hotel," I said finally, voice sharp as a blade. "We built progress," he corrected, chin high. "The board voted unanimously. Your absence was abandonment by default, so we claimed eminent domain through community necessity." The arrogance in his tone burned hotter than the Texas sun overhead. They thought they had outmaneuvered me. But while they built their empire on stolen soil, they forgot one thing. I'm not the kind of man who lets anyone rewrite my family's history. That night, I pulled every deed, tax receipt, and legal document from the safe in my barn. Every slip of paper bore my name. I hadn't missed one single tax payment. I hadn't signed away 1 acre. And the eminent domain lie? Only governments could do that. Certainly not a suburban HOA with delusions of grandeur. They had poured millions into a project sitting squarely on my land. And now, by law, everything standing on it belonged to me. The next morning, I walked through the hotel's front doors like I owned the place, because I did. The staff glanced nervously as I strolled to the check-in desk. "Get Dennis," I ordered. Moments later, he appeared, his smugness cracked with irritation. "You can't just walk in here." I cut him off with a fold of documents, slamming it on the marble counter. "Deed, tax records, survey maps, all mine. Every nail, every beam of this little palace you built belongs to me now. Legally. You built it on my land without permission. That makes it my hotel." The color drained from his face. The staff began whispering. Guests in the lobby turned to watch. You can't." "I can. And I have." My voice was calm, but it carried. "And if you or your board set foot here again, I'll have you arrested for trespassing." By the end of the week, I had registered the hotel under my name, filed the necessary ownership claims with the county, and hired a new management company. The HOA's investment had become my crown jewel overnight. The community that had tried to strip me of my land now lined up to book rooms, dine at the restaurant, and sip cocktails at the Creekside Bar. Every dollar they had stolen from me flowed right back into my pocket. As for Dennis and his board, I didn't sue him for the land. I didn't need to. Watching their grand vision turn into my empire was punishment enough. The once arrogant president now passed me in town with his headlord, the man who had tried to erase my family's legacy, reduced to nothing more than a bitter bystander. I often stood on the balcony of the top floor, looking out at the hills, imagining my grandfather's grin, my father's nod. Justice didn't come with lawyers and long battles. It came with patience and the iron will to hold on to what was rightfully mine. The HOA thought they'd built their triumph on my land. Instead, they built me a kingdom.